In recent years, there has been a growing trend in hip-hop known as the check-in culture. It's a phenomenon that has been around for decades, but has recently gained more attention due to its negative effects on artists like Kanye West and others. So what is the check-in culture? It refers to the practice of artists having to check in with local gang members, club owners, or other influential figures in a city before they can perform there or conduct business. This has become increasingly prevalent in the hip-hop industry, with artists being extorted for protection, money, or other favors. The history of extortion in the hip-hop industry can be traced back to the 1980s and 1990s, when the genre began to gain mainstream popularity. During this time, many rap artists were associated with street gangs and criminal organizations, which provided them with protection and street credibility. As hip-hop grew in popularity, so did the power and influence of these criminal organizations. Many artists were forced to align themselves with local gang members and club owners in order to secure protection and ensure that their performances went smoothly. This led to the development of the check-in culture, where artists had to check in with these individuals before they could perform or conduct business in a city. Over time, the check-in culture became more entrenched in the hip-hop industry, with artists being forced to pay protection fees or provide other favors in exchange for the right to perform or do business in certain cities. This practice has become a pervasive problem, with many artists feeling that they have no choice but to comply with the demands of local gangs or other influential figures in order to ensure their safety and success. While the hip-hop industry has made significant strides in recent years to distance itself from criminal activity and promote a more positive image, the check-in culture remains a persistent problem that needs to be addressed. This will require a concerted effort from all stakeholders in the industry, including artists, record labels, law enforcement agencies, and community organizations, to promote a safer and more equitable music industry for all. This practice can have severe consequences for artists who refuse to comply. In some cases, they may be threatened with violence or have their equipment stolen. In other cases, they may be blacklisted from performing or have their careers ruined. Kanye West is one artist who has spoken out about the check-in culture and its impact on his career. He has claimed that he was forced to pay exorbitant fees and provide free merchandise to local gang members in order to perform in certain cities. This has led to a culture of fear and intimidation in the industry, where artists are afraid to speak out against this kind of extortion. Other artists have also been affected by the check-in culture. Rapper Lil Wayne has been vocal about his experiences with being extorted by gang members in his hometown of New Orleans. He has spoken out against the practice and has urged other artists to do the same. Lil Wayne is not the only artist who has spoken out about the check-in culture. Several other artists have also faced similar situations, where they were forced to comply with the demands of local gang members or other influential figures in the music industry. Vanilla Ice, a rapper who rose to fame in the late 1980s and early 1990s, has spoken out about his experience with the check-in culture in the hip-hop industry. In his 2011 autobiography, Ice by Ice, he revealed that he had been extorted by infamous rap mogul Suge Knight in the early 1990s. According to Vanilla Ice, he was forced to sign over the publishing rights to his hit single Ice Ice Baby to Knight's record label, Death Row Records, in exchange for protection and the right to perform in Los Angeles. He claims that Knight and his associates held him over a balcony by his ankles until he agreed to sign over the rights. Vanilla Ice's experience is just one example of how the check-in culture can have negative consequences for artists in the hip-hop industry. While some may argue that aligning oneself with local gangs or criminal organizations can provide protection and street credibility, the reality is that it often leads to exploitation and violence. It's important for artists to stand up against this practice and work towards creating a safer and more equitable industry for all. One such artist is rapper Freddie Gibbs. He has spoken out about being extorted by local gang members in Gary, Indiana, his hometown. Gibbs claims that he was forced to pay a fee and provide free tickets to gang members in order to perform in the city. Another artist who has faced similar situations is rapper YG. He has spoken out about being forced to pay local gang members in Los Angeles for protection. YG claims that he had to pay a fee and provide free merchandise in order to ensure that his concerts went smoothly. Rapper 6ix9ine, who has a controversial history with the law, has also spoken out about the check-in culture. He claims that he was forced to pay gang members in order to ensure his safety while he was on tour. However, 6ix9ine has also been accused of using the check-in culture to gain protection and credibility within the industry. Overall, the check-in culture is a pervasive problem in the hip-hop industry, and many artists have been affected by it. It perpetuates a culture of fear and intimidation, where artists are forced to comply with the demands of local gang members or risk their safety and careers. It's important that we continue to raise awareness about this issue and work towards finding solutions to end it. Despite these efforts, the check-in culture remains a pervasive problem in the hip-hop industry. It's a disturbing trend that perpetuates violence and criminal activity, and it's time for it to be brought to an end. The check-in culture in the hip-hop industry is a deeply concerning phenomenon that has been allowed to persist for far too long. Despite the efforts of some artists to speak out against it, the practice remains pervasive and continues to harm those who refuse to comply with its demands. At its core, the check-in culture perpetuates a cycle of violence and criminal activity. It allows local gang members and other influential figures to exert control over the music industry and exploit artists for their own gain. In many cases, these individuals use intimidation and threats of violence to force artists to comply with their demands. Moreover, the check-in culture can have long-lasting effects on the careers and personal lives of artists. Those who refuse to comply may be blacklisted from performing or conducting business in certain cities, which can severely limit their opportunities and stunt their growth as artists. Others may face physical harm or damage to their property, which can have serious consequences for their personal well-being and financial stability. Despite the negative consequences of the check-in culture, it persists due to a lack of accountability and a culture of silence within the industry. Many artists are afraid to speak out against the practice for fear of retribution or backlash. In addition, law enforcement agencies and other regulatory bodies have been slow to address the issue, allowing it to fester and spread. It's time for the hip-hop industry to take a stand against the check-in culture and work towards finding solutions to end it. This can involve a variety of approaches, including increased regulation, increased awareness and education, and greater support for artists who are victimized by the practice. Ultimately, it will take a collective effort from all stakeholders in the industry to bring an end to this disturbing trend and create a more equitable and just music industry for all. The check-in culture is a dangerous and harmful practice that is hurting artists and the hip-hop industry as a whole. We need to continue to speak out against it and demand change. Thank you for watching, and please share your thoughts in the comments below.